Yeah.
Cool. Welcome to the Legacy Builders podcast, where we are redefining generational wealth one story at a time. I'm your host, Mario Gonzalez Jr. Today's guest is Mackenzie Stanton. Mackenzie is an entrepreneur, leadership coach, podcast host, and someone who literally travels the world working with leaders and executives. We connected on LinkedIn. Quickly realized we share a lot of overlap, rebuilding seasons, leadership, health, and what it actually takes to build something sustainable. Mackenzie, really excited to have you on the show. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Mario.
For those who don't know you, can you give a little background on who you are and what you're building right now?
Yes. Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I love this. So my background's as a personal trainer, nutrition coach, so all things health and wellness. I've done exercise physiology, health advising, that kind of stuff. So that's been my career. And then on top of that, I actually built a business for 10 years in direct sales and fell in love with leadership and people and building and creating and networking and all those things. And then went through a life transition and was like, how could I merge these together? So that's what I've been doing this last year is building this, I still do training. And I've been segueing that into some really cool stuff, which I'm excited about. But I've intentionally been building a global community where I'm connecting people around the world. We're connecting over Zoom to start. But then I have a mission to also take people into the world. So I led a trip to Fiji in September, which was so much fun. And then I just want to connect the world. That's really my whole heart, is to connect people that don't have opportunities, and I can help create connections that allow that to happen for them. And so many things. So first and foremost, it is a community, and we have programs that build people in their mindset, in their body. So integrating the health and leadership. So it's about, I change my world, right? Mind, body, spirit, whatever that looks like for people. And then I can go make a better change in the world around me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What season of life are you in right now?
Definitely building.
Yeah. Aren't we all? We're building all the time, though.
Yeah. I would say it's a reestablishing foundation kind of season. Well, I'll say that's what 2025 was. It's very much so. I'll say this. I was on the path for 10 years, and quite frankly, I thought it would be my forever path. However, subconsciously, I think deep in my heart, I knew I wasn't going to live out what I felt called to do on that path. But there's so many amazing things about it that was hard to leave. And so I was rebuilding my life, and I sat down to answer your question and asked myself these questions of, okay, how do I actually want to live my life? Like, if I drown out all the noise of expectations of other people or what I should do or whatever, how long I've been on this path, you name it, and I just listened to my spirit and my heart and, went back to the drawing board of why I believe I'm on this planet. And I just asked a series of questions around that. And then I was like, all right, this is the answer. And so 2025 was a reestablishing the foundation season. Now I feel like segueing from that, like the building specifically is, it's a good question. It's got me thinking. I think I've been building me a lot. So now I have more capacity to build people and to build programs and connections more. So I don't know if that answers your question. It got me thinking
it
out
does.
loud,
And that was kind of like the follow-up to that was it leadership, health, or working with people? It sounds like it was a combination of all of them.
Yeah, I'm kind of that way. Yeah. I usually am always working on something with myself and something with people. To me, I find the sweet spot in the both and.
Yeah.
I can be very extreme on things, but I think my opinion of life is it's pursuing a fullness of life and purpose and lifestyle that we want, and also becoming our best selves and sewing in other people to do the same. So, it's a good question. It got me thinking more of what part of the building am I in?
Yeah.
Would I say?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For myself, at least, I find myself like when I learn something and I'm really excited about something, I want to share it with other people, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a fitness journey or whether it's business or whatever it is, I'm like, okay, how can I help the person next to me who might not realize potential unlock that? So I kind of feel like that's probably where you're at too.
Yeah, I love that. How long would you say you've been in that season yourself?
I'd say all my life, but the last 2 years rebuilding after divorce and just all the things. Yeah. So, but I feel like it's consistent. Every year it's a new challenge. And, I've always wanted to find ways to help others no matter what that is. So, yeah. What early experiences shaped you or shaped how you see people and leadership today?
That's a good question. So, I mean, a big passion and heart of mine is travel. And I'll share this experience because it's really laid the foundation. So in junior high, we saw Child Soldiers. It's a documentary. I don't know if you've heard of it, but we saw that at school in the auditorium. And I went to South Junior High here in Idaho and in Boise. And I remember leaving that day. I remember watching it being like, oh my gosh, there's kids younger than me carrying guns and going to war. And like, it just blew my mind. And I left school that day and I remember standing outside of school. You know the movies where they have like the slow-mo?
Yeah.
Where like you're watching the main character and then everyone else is like spinning around them super fast. That's how I felt in that moment. It was like, looking back, I think, I have a faith, but it was just like, okay, this is the purpose of which I've been made. Was to go connect and help and do what I can. And also to share that more. Like I'm so grateful that those guys that made that documentary had the bravery to go capture that, to just create awareness. So that I think really was one of the first times growing up that I was like, I just have a heart for people. I love them so much. And then leadership, I think in sports, because I always often was like a captain. I was voted as a captain, or my coaches would come to me and be, I'd have a certain type of like expectation, I think, from them of leadership. And I never saw myself that way. I was just like, I'm here to work super hard. I'm here to love my teammates and I just want to win. But looking back again, I think that I realized, oh, okay, maybe I do have a somewhat of a natural inclination this way, but it's also been something I've really had to build and get my heart right. And I'm still learning. So yeah, I would say that. These are good questions.
I like to do my research. So something that you've shared previously, you talked about divorce and rebuilding after losing the business. For myself, there was a season in my life where I was looking for networking groups, right? Or I would try and find a group that I could relate with people in both, right? Not only business or entrepreneurship, but divorce. And so it was either one or the other. So either I go to a networking group, there's nobody I can relate to about divorce. I go to like a divorce community group, and there was no entrepreneurs there. So I started a group called Single Driven Entrepreneurs, but everybody thought it was a dating group because of the name that it was implied. And it just, I don't know, it didn't take off. But I had a hard time like identifying with people, and which I think takes a little longer to rebuild, right? If you don't have people that you can talk to about it. So what was your experience, rebuilding or...
Yeah. Well, thank you for being open about it, and even just your courage to start a group, right? And saying, I saw when listen to podcasts of like, if you can't find the room, build it. Yeah. And I resonate with that a lot. It's interesting because I had my quarter life crisis, I call it, at 22, after a big travel adventure and coming home and after college. But I feel like I had kind of another, I wouldn't call it a crisis necessarily of like who I am, but I guess you could say it was some sort of crisis of like, well, now what do I do? Like I've been so dedicated to this path, and the group I was a part of, I was a leader there. I traveled the country, I had a team, I'd fly to them. I was in leadership rooms for many years. I was in the top 2% of that group. And I'm just a hard worker. I had to learn the hard way of like learning the skills, but that was like a family to me. It was, they were people in that group that I was like, we get each other, right? Similar vision, similar values. Like, we show up for each other. And that's how I met my ex. It was in that group. And so when we split, it was sudden in how it happened, and that's another story, but I didn't feel like I had time to prepare for, okay, what would life look like now? And I actually stayed a part of that group for a while and just kept rebuilding, so just what I know. But then I hit a point was like, do I want to be in the room with this person right now with all the other baggage that came with that? And I was like, I definitely don't. But then it also got me thinking, again, to answer your question of, well, why did I start down this path? Like it allowed me to go listen to that still small voice that I'd kind of shoved down for a long time. And not because I was just trying to please people. The group I was a part of, it had everything else that I was looking for except that one thing. So I relate with that because they're amazing people. They're values driven. I learned so much. So it wasn't like I didn't just go down that path to please people. It really called to me.
Yeah.
But I did learn that was for a season, right?
Yeah.
Instead of a lifelong season, like a marriage, like you would think, that was just a lesson actually. And so a lot of to that point is searching for it. I found I was a part in an apprenticeship at my church, amazing people there. So that helped a lot. But to that degree, it was like, if I can't find it fully, I'm unwilling to compromise parts of myself anymore. So I'm just going to create it. So
Is there anything that rebuilding taught you that success never did?
I definitely believe that we learn more from our failures than our successes. I think success is like so relative and subjective because I don't know, maybe the times that I've been successful in other people's eyes, I always see the under the iceberg. I'm like, oh man, if you only knew, it's a mess back here.
I like that, success in other people's eyes.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Because to me, how I see success is that I'm progressing.
Yeah.
I'm always moving forward. And don't get me wrong, I'll have these moments. Like when we went to Fiji, I remember getting there, I was like, whoo, this was a journey, like success. We have people here, it turned out amazing. So there was this like exhale of, oh man, the hard work, the sacrifice, the hustle, like it paid off. And not just for me, it paid off for all of us. But yeah, I think the rebuilding, it just keeps you humble.
Yeah.
And hungry.
Yeah.
And that's just also how I'm wired. So I think I also kind of seek that out too.
Yeah.
Honestly. But.
Yeah, for sure. You've talked about the difference between vulnerability and victimhood. How do you personally define that difference?
Yeah, that's really good. Well, I'll say first and foremost, I unknowingly was playing a victim for a long time. So I had amazing mentors. They're still good friends of mine. They've been married 30 years. They make really good income. They're in business with their kids. Like they have the picturesque life that I was like, that looks amazing. I would like that.
Yeah.
And so they knew me. I was very vulnerable with them of like what I was struggling with. And this is in my 20s. And I just wanted their life so bad. I was like, I just don't want to hold anything back. Like I want to figure this out. Right. And I need to share it with someone to help me figure it out that I want to take advice from.
Yeah.
And so I say that because they knew me very, very well. And it was about 6 years into coaching with them and building that I was like, okay, I was frustrated. I sat down and I was like, look, I have I've said no to so many things. I've sacrificed time with family. I haven't gone on family trips and cruises. I've missed 2 holidays going home. I was living in Washington State because I was just so dedicated to paying the price and building to create the life that I wanted. I didn't want to do it forever. But I was like, I want to pay the price in my 20s to live how I want to live in my 30s and beyond. And so I sat down with him. I was like, okay, tell me. Like, why am I not further along? Like, yes, from other people's success or other people's perspectives, this may be successful, but I got big dreams, man. Like, clock's ticking. Like, what else do I got to do? And that's when he brought to light. He's like, well, you can do all the work that you want. But if you don't change your mindset and how you show up to that work and your expectations and literally the thoughts that are going on in your brain while you're doing the work, then you're not going to get this type of result.
Yeah.
Right. And so I remember being like, oh my gosh, I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, to my past self, like, all of us, we have a hard go, right? It's not downplaying, wow, these are some hard things that I went through, but it's also not identifying with them. But I think victimhood is a chronic expectation that will always get the short stick.
Yeah.
That I'll never get ahead, that I'm not worthy. And there's a lot to that versus, vulnerability is saying, to me, it's saying, I don't so strongly identify with my weaknesses, but I also don't so strongly identify with my strengths that I can't show the fact that I have weakness, that I'm both and I'll always have both. And that's okay. And I have a history of addiction. So I spent a lot of time in 12-step groups. And this is part of what shaped that idea of vulnerability for me of, you could be a victim going into that room and you can also just use it to be vulnerable. But I would see people that from the outside looked like they had it all together. Right. And I'm like, I know why I'm here. I'm a mess. But why are you here? You know? But then they'd open their mouth and in this like safe space, they'd share these things that you're like, I would have no idea that they're going through that. And so then I felt so connected to this person or these people because the perception was not reality. And so to see the fact of like, wow, you do have these strengths and also you're just figuring it out too, right? That creates connection. Like I love the quote that success impresses, but failure impacts.
Yeah.
So vulnerability to me, especially in leadership, and Brené Brown has some great stuff. She's kind of iconic in that, but is to me what makes it healthy.
Yeah.
Right. But anyways, I could talk on that for a while, so I'll just pin it there. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So kind of wrapping all that up, you talked a little bit about what other people see successful for you, right? Or how they define that. Has it been a lot easier to not compare yourself to other people's successes, right? Or kind of what stages they're at in life, or thinking like, hey, they're doing great from the outside, better on the inside. Like does that make sense?
I think so. Yeah. Like, has it been easy to get over comparison or, for my own personal journey with the topic of comparison, growing up, I think like most young people, let alone girls, like I would compare myself to other girls all the time from an outside perspective, right? So I battled that for a long time. And I can still have that, I think, here and there. I know I can, but I don't really think about it often. I've worked on that a lot. But from comparison, from like a results standpoint of work, it's really interesting because before this past group that I was a part of, I never really did. Like I was just I was just focused on literally the quote of like, be better than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
That I just embodied
Compete
that.
with yourself.
Compete with yourself. That's what really, even in athletics, like I was like, I just want to be better. Like growth is is one of my top values. And so, but I got into this group where there's other people and now there's like more metrics to it, so it's more quantifiable. And there was a stage, right, that people would speak on or they wouldn't speak on. It's like, I need to get on that stage. And quite frankly, that looking back bred a lot of selfishness in me and a lot of comparison, right? Of, oh, hey, I sat down with my mentor. I'm doing all this work. I know Joe over there is not working half as hard as I am, but he's further along. What the heck, So I definitely battled that. But it's funny, and maybe because I'm, a year and a half into this journey, especially if like things really kicking off, I don't really do that. And I think it stems from my belief that we all have our own beautiful uniqueness that we can offer the world. And I just got away from that because a lot of the culture I was in is very competitive and go, go, go and hardcore, which I love that, right? Yeah. But I think now what I'm doing, it's like, I don't know, maybe because I'm creating it and I'm so in my lane, it's different. But, and that's what I would say to anyone too, if they battle with comparison, it's like, well, why are those metrics that we're comparing from so important to us? Right? Yeah. Like whether it's aesthetics or performance or results, like why is that so important? Who's the one that stated that was what should be, right? Yeah. And I think taking our power back is so important because when we find our lane and we are convergent in our gifts, then I think that frees us up to go create and not compare. And when we're creating whatever that may be to give to the world, I just think kind of drowns the comparison out. Yeah. At least that's what I've experienced. So, yeah.
One of my core themes with my guests and even myself is the idea of generational wealth, right? And I still want to touch on that, but you really embody what I like to call generational health, right? You literally go across the world and work with leaders and all that. So can you describe what generational health means to you?
Yeah. Ooh, oh, man, that's a good one. I love the wealth thing too, right? That's huge. Well, I think ultimately one of my passions for people is the fact that we can dress differently, we can eat differently, we can have different languages, we have different, politics, religions, whatever. But at the end of the day, like we all laugh in the same language, we all cry in the same language, we all have the same emotions, and we all have a body. We all have this, typically, unless there's, a genetic situation going on, like we all have a heart, we all have a brain, and So health to me it used to be an outside in endeavor, but now it's an inside out situation.
Yeah.
And so traveling around the world, I'm like, I have not met anyone that I can think of that I've like grown a relationship with that doesn't have like health impacting their life. Right. To me, it's like whatever someone believes, if they have spiritual foundation or not, whatever that is for them, but then health is right above that.
Yeah.
Like if we are not feeling good, it will show up in every area.
Yep.
And I've definitely been guilty. Like there's no other area I've battled more than in my health. And so I empathize with it a lot because any breakthrough I've had, I've fought for, and I've had amazing people that have helped guide the way for me. And I've studied a ton, and then I've coached a lot of people too. So, but generational health, I think of, and I love the legacy builder. I'm all about that. It is so cool.
Yeah.
It is so cool.
Yeah.
And I think of helping, a generation up and two down. And so generationally speaking, from a health perspective, it's like, okay, it is really important to look at where did I come from? And I work with a lot of people too, and like their body image and they're just emotional eating things that I struggled with.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it's like, okay, well, where did this come from? Not to point the blame finger or anything, but just understanding, why am I this way? Or maybe that's what I was taught. So if I learned it, I can unlearn it and help understand myself of how did I even get here? What's the root that's causing this rotten fruit in my life, and pull that up and plant a better seed. But then from there, when I think we have that autonomy and we have the confidence in our own health and knowing, I love the term bioindividuality, but kind of a big statement just to say that everybody's different.
Yeah.
And when we own that and understand, okay, here's the principles of health. What are the practices for me? Now I can pass the principles on, knowing that the practices may look different for people.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, they will. How they move, what specifically they eat can be different, but we can still optimize our health when we, align mind, body, spirit. I'll say this might be helpful too on the legacy perspective is we know lifespan. That's how long we live. Health span is how well we live. And something I kind of laugh at myself. But I was like, ooh, what's like the give part, right?
Yeah.
And so purpose span, I know, kind of goofy, but that's like the third peg of what I look at when I want to work with people or when I work with them of like, what's important to you? Like your health is not just about you, right? It really isn't. Like if we're not feeling good, then most of the time other people around us are impacted.
Yeah.
And if we have high energy and vitality and we're bringing that, other people feel that. So knowing that health starts with us, but it doesn't end with us. And especially when we're raising the next generation, like they're watching everything.
Yes, they're little sponges.
Sponges. And so it's like, oh, you saw me grab the cookie at 11 p.m. Now you are, So, and it's not about perfection at all. So true, yeah. But I think anything generational, it's first being hyper aware, in my opinion, of ourselves, where it came from, and then what's the impact we want to give. And then it becomes about service. So it's like, I got to take care of me, fill my own cup so that I'm better for you. So that I can think of you and your needs and what I can then give and pass on.
It's something that took me quite a long time to learn is I would always find myself in a position where I'm trying to help everybody else, but myself. And it was also very hard for me to ask for help too, for myself, so that was an obstacle that I definitely had to overcome. What about yourself?
Well, what helped you overcome that? I can ask.
I think just age, just becoming more wise, and I think that period of divorce made me kind of look back at myself and accomplishments and things maybe I would have changed, or just kind of evaluating who I was as a person, identity-wise. And so also learning how to say no.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Like somebody told me no is a one-word sentence. So, yeah.
Man, the ability to say no, that is, I mentioned addiction. My first one was sugar. Like I was a full-blown, like overeat, over-exercise kind of gal. And I learned as like addiction, one definition is the inability to say no. And so that ability, especially no to ourselves, I can say no to other people like all day if I need to. Like I have my weak moments and I have some people pleaser in me still, but for the most part, I'm pretty good. Saying no to me though, wow.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's an ongoing muscle to flex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely a skill set that you need to learn.
Yeah.
You work with visionary leaders. What patterns do you see in leaders who sustain success versus those who burn out?
Yeah. What you had just said.
So I'm onto something.
Yeah. I think it's really, we kind of, I will overcomplicate things and think, especially the more, again, outward success someone has, it's easy to think they have it all figured out.
Yeah.
It is, in my opinion, my experience, I've been in some really amazing rooms. It is few and far between that there are people that really have it all figured out, and I would say figured out in the sense that they have peace and purpose in the important areas of their life. If they have a lot of success financially or in business, often behind closed doors, if they don't have a healthy way of managing that stress through exercise, through sleep, through fueling their body, it will come out. And often it's not pretty the longer it's suppressed. And again, been in those rooms, I've been down that path, but I see it like in my organization of what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, if someone's the fit for where we're at, they typically are aware of one of three problems to help answer your question. One, they want to make a change in the world, whatever that is, their community, the world at large, but they're just battling trying to change themselves. They just don't have capacity to even think about other people because it's just, they have to figure out their basic needs first. So that's one group. Second group is they're pretty good. Like they go to the gym in a health perspective. They eat right. They do everything they need to do for themselves. They have good boundaries, but then they don't really think about others. It's kind of about them.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, I don't know where to start to help others, or maybe I don't really think about that, or third, which is a smaller group in my experience, is they are doing both. They are prioritizing themselves and making a difference. However, they often don't have people to do it with, that association, so they're limited, right?
Yeah.
Or it's not to the scale they want to, but they do have some fruit in both areas. Or not the scale, or the longevity of it. They're like, how do I sustain this through the ebbs and flows of life?
Right.
So, and I've been in all three groups, just FYI, but yeah, to that point, I think it's pretty universal.
Okay.
So,
you've kind of shared to me the story behind World Changers.
yeah.
What is World Changers to those who don't know?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is first and foremost our community. And so I became a nomad a few months ago. So I'm homeless.
Good for you.
I know. It's great.
Well, not homeless, but being able to travel. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. It's been great. It's been a long time coming. But I'm on a mission to, as I go to different countries, literally create connections around the world. So that community piece and that sense of belonging and that sense of purpose is of utmost importance to me. And because in community, we're wired for connection.
Yeah.
And part of that community is a safe space to be seen and heard and loved. And I think it's very healing, at least what I've experienced and what I've seen, fortunately in our group so far, is people can show up fully and know, hey, it's safe here to not have it all figured out and to own our strengths as much as our weaknesses. It's a both and. It's like, I'm good, I'm confident, I'm secure, I know where I'm going. And I also have some gaps, not that I'm only one or the other. And so the community piece, and then from that, we have different programs. So our pillars, I'll say this, are community, personal growth, and leadership development. To me, it's kind of one and the same. It's like we grow to give. Third is health. Fourth is travel. Fifth is impact. So every program we have, virtual, in real life, hybrid, we'll touch on at least a couple of those, if not all of them. So with the community, and we're new online, so this is my area of growth, is understanding all of the things that come with that.
Oh, it's a whole new world.
It's a whole new world.
Yes.
So we have the community, and then I'll share a couple of things that we do. So we have a mastermind. We meet once a week over Zoom. Small little group right now. It's stemmed out of our Fiji retreat group, and it's grown since. And in that, we have a topic each month, and it's anything around growth, right? So business to health. We have a lot of entrepreneurs in there. We have authors in there. We have doctors. Like it's a really cool group. And we have a flow. So the first meeting of the month, we have a speaker, internal, external. They'll come in and teach on a topic of the month. The second meeting, we'll mastermind on it. So we'll do breakout rooms and have, in-depth conversations. The third meeting is a hot seat. So a think tank. So January, our topic is health and fitness. Specifically, we have a strength coach in our group that gave a talk, and I know this too, but we all have strengths to share,
Right?
and stuff.
Yeah.
So I learned from him too. He has great stuff. But so someone will come and say, "Hey, I have this problem I don't know how to solve. Can you help me solve it?" So it's a safe space to have collaboration around that. And then the last call of the month is just openly connect and no agenda. Just we laugh and giggle a lot. It's fun.
That's good.
So that's one example of the virtual. And then real quick, in real life, I'll talk actually about the hybrid. So our Fiji experience was part of a 10-week long intensive. And this is hitting all of the 5 pillars. So we had a 2-week onboarding period, followed by a 6-week virtual challenge, like a fitness challenge, just paired with some other layers, and then our international retreat. And it was all around mind, body, leadership transformation. So literally, I'm going to change me, and I will notice a change in the lives of those around me by the time I'm done with this. It is intense. And it's very purposeful. But I'll just say this, we start with a 10-week long vision. 10 years. We all map out our 10-year vision for our life in each area of our life. And we scale it back to, okay, now what do I need to do weekly, daily, monthly to make that happen? And it's somewhat like we dream, right? Who knows if that'll happen in 10 years? Just you do your best with it. But what's so cool is that we have weekly workshops over Zoom, and I had speakers come in and all this stuff. But we also have accountability calls.
That was my next question. Accountability.
Accountability. Yeah. Mario, I want to make t-shirts. Someone else can make this. I don't care who gets the credit. I just want to wear it. But it says, I heart accountability, right? Like I heart New York, I heart accountability. It is such a underrated, and it's not a sexy word to people, but I'm here to make it sexy. Like it is so important to have accountability in our lives. So we had calls, and I had a spreadsheet where I was like, okay, did you do the number of workouts you said you're going to do? Did you reach out to the number of people you said you would, or whatever aligned with your goals? So we all had the same buckets, but we had different activities because we're different people. So that was amazing because we could show up and be like, man, this week wasn't great. Okay, it happens. What can we do to better support you so that you have a great week this next one? And then in Fiji, we have 4 things on our retreat. So we have a fitness challenge. And so we all had a goal. Mine was running. I'm a runner, but like
I freaking hate running. I don't like cardio in that sense.
I can run, but it's not my preferred method of cardio. Anyway, so I was like, I'm going to do it though. And I did, and it was great. But and then some people had a pull-up goal or a handstand goal or plank goal or whatever. So it was really fun to have our own stuff. And then we worked out together and stuff. But so the fitness was a component, changing our body. The second was we gave speeches. So this is my hippie heart. I believe that everyone has a world changer within them. And I believe everyone has a world-changing speech within them. And so I am fortunate to have a great family connection with a gentleman that's a communications trainer. And so I flew him out, and he trained us for a day on giving a public speech. And everyone was preparing this whole time and stuff, but then everyone gave their world-changing speeches. Like Martin Luther King Jr., if you had a moment to share what is on your heart that you would want the world to know, right? And it was 10 out of 10 amazing. It was so good. Everyone crushed it. But that's the leadership side to me, is the, and development side, personal and leadership development. And then we volunteered. So we went to an orphanage there. And one thing that we do is the impact piece, we give 10% to global causes. So we took a ton of donations there, and they're amazing. They're an incredible organization. And then we immerse ourselves in the culture. So anyways, I just threw a lot out there, multi-passionate human. It's packed, but
that's cool. That's awesome. So what's the story that you're trying to tell or like capture behind the documentary?
Yeah. Well, number one, I think it's, again, just with that message of everyone has a world changer within them.
Okay.
And part of where that came from a personal standpoint, when I was in the thick of, I had a 10-year long journey with different addictions, and I was in and out of groups and all this stuff. And I remember 4 years into it, and I didn't know it was going to be 10 years for me to overcome it. But I remember thinking, is this just my life? Is this, again, the victim mentality is is this just me? What is wrong with me that I'm, just this, I just feel like I'm really messed up. What the heck? And I have all these issues and I can't seem to figure it out. And so that hope of no, I can change. And I did change. And it was a mental, physical, spiritual change. And it took time and it took support. Dedication over time, not just time. But the other thing too, I'll say of the message is in the past business I built, we had a voicemail system. And for whatever reason, I just love people. I'm like pretty energetic. I would always start my voicemails to my team saying, "Hello, beautiful world changers," and I don't know, it's just what I said for years. And I remember so clearly this gal that I was in business with, and people come and go and stuff, but we remained friends, as I always do. Like I'm like, if I'm in business with you, we're gonna be friends. Like the lines to me are very blurred. A lot of people have opinions about that. It seems to work for me, and I'm good with it. But it'd been a while since she'd been around our group, and we're talking, and she's like, I miss being called a world changer. And she's like one of the happiest people you will ever meet. She's so positive. But Mario, there's this sparkle in her eyes that I had never seen before. And I was like, hold up, what? That is so incredible to be spoken over in such a way. I needed to hear that, to speak that over people's lives. And again, the world could be our family. It could be our community. But I have yet to meet a person that doesn't want to help people. Right? And so that's just, to me, I don't own the words world changer. I think we all do. I'm just here to talk about it. Right? So that's the heart of the message. And then kind of the essence of how we also started is like, okay, now what does that look like? Like practically speaking, how do I go about doing that? And this is just my take on that. So I'm excited. We'll see how it comes out.
Cool. Right on. So to kind of tie into that, I know you recently started a podcast as well, right? So shameless plug for you if you want. But you're launching, I think, the beginning of February. Why now? But more importantly, how does storytelling play into healing and leadership?
Man, the questions. These are good. Well, why now? I think twofold answer. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but just capacity. Like I was head deep in planning all of this, and also getting rid of my place and becoming this nomad. And like, there's just a lot, and having clients and just all the things. So it was like, I just didn't have the capacity, or I guess stretch myself enough to start it earlier. But the second reason is because, so that's one of it, is I just know, I just, when things align really kind of seamlessly, I listen to that and I watch that of like, why is that? Okay. Like, it's probably part of more of where I need to go. Like if I'm forcing things so much, which I will do, is it really where I'm supposed to be going? Right. And there's some obviously like grit, and you got to lean in and things get tough. So I'm not saying like, if it gets hard, it may not be right for you. That's not my point. It's rather, I think, again, the both and, but, on my first 3.5 months of being a nomad, I was in a handful of Asian countries, and I met some of the coolest people. And I was like, man, your story just needs to be heard more. And a lot of them actually have platforms. Some of them have podcasts. Like some of them have amazing success. Like I have an interview with a gal. She's a dear friend of mine. She was rated, I think it was in the top 5 mindset and leadership coaches in all of Australia. So like freaking cool,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. She helped me a lot, even in just our interactions. But, I feel like it made sense that now is that time, especially before I head out abroad again. I'm going to Europe in a couple weeks. I want to have the system set up so when I meet people, I'm going to an orphanage there as well. I'm excited. I'm coordinating with them. But so that's part of it. Now, your question on storytelling, how that segues into leadership, is that? Okay. Well, I came across Donald Miller. Have you heard of him at all?
No, I haven't.
He has new to me. But he has a book called Story Brand, and I read it probably 3 months ago. But that has clued me into the fact that everything really is a story. Anything that we listen to often has a storyline. I mean, every movie to good books, like, and just how he talks about it, especially like when a brand or a business, I was like, ding, ding, ding. Okay, this makes sense. But we hear like where our brains are wired for stories, and to have the antagonist and the main character, right? And they have the hero's journey to go on, and they have adversity. They meet a guide. They have a plan. They avoid failure. They achieve success. Like all those components. That just made a lot of sense to me. So I think in leadership, whether it's leading ourselves, of one of my favorite questions when I like the times that I've been in deep pain or what I share with people is, what's the story that we're going to tell?
Yeah.
Like, what's the story on the other side for the purpose of this pain? Because it's there and we can sit in the pain and we can play the victim, or we can say, you know what, this kind of sucks right now and it's not my favorite, but this too shall pass. And how do I want to talk about it on the other side?
Yeah.
How can I use this to pour into people? So the story with ourselves, the story we tell ourselves. But then also I think in leadership, having tough conversations or just empowering people or setting the vision of where we're going to an organization. It's all in a storyline, right? I think we all want to be a part of a good story.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
I think it's a lot easier to connect with people with a story too. Like even just the sales piece of it, right? Like when I was talking to customers, and this is what I tell the trainers that I have on staff is, when you're talking to a customer, don't just give them the information, give them the information in a story, right? Tell a situation about a dog that you had that became, you just saw that success with the dog, right? Point A to point B. So yeah, I think storytelling is huge to connect with people for sure.
Yeah, that's so cool.
After everything that you've lived and rebuilt, what does generational wealth mean to you now? I know we touched on generational health. Wealth was a little bit tied to that, but specifically, what does generational wealth mean to you?
Yeah. I think twofold. Number one, I think leaving obviously the monetary wealth for the next generation is a huge component of that. And it may be obvious, but to state it, I do believe that's part of it, right? Of like, what do I leave for people? And that can bless people significantly. I mean, empires get started out of that kind of situation if it falls in the right hands. And so many good things can come when money is not a stressor, right? But I think the other side of that, in my opinion, is what we not just leave for people, but in people.
Yeah,
and
that's good. I like that.
Yeah. And how do we help empower them to become their best and speak to the gifts that they have and raise them up? Because that's a wealth internally that can go make more wealth externally. That if we're given wealth on the outside, we have the character to handle it on the inside and use it wisely. But to me, I don't know, maybe it's my journey in the past business I built, but I just learned that life's about others and it's really about service and not at the sacrifice of ourselves. But I think when we get ourselves figured out, it frees us up to think, man, how can I just do more for others? Right? While I'm pouring from a full cup, it overflows. And I think wealth is a beautiful, vital piece of that. So that's what I would say.
Okay. What kind of impact matters the most right now?
Yeah. It's funny. I always have like 2-part answers to everything.
That's fine. Go for it.
Yeah. I gotta say no. Just pick one. The impact. So I think because it just where I'm at literally today, number one is the people closest to me, especially in our mastermind group. And I have a challenge going on right now. The impact with them matters so much to me. Are they receiving what they need and above what they need? Do they feel supportive? Do they know where to go? Right? We have apps, like little things like that. Like old me would have looked over and been like, oh, I made impact if I had the recognition or the award or people, I had the title, right? And it's like, that's not fulfilling, number one. And number two, that doesn't last. So impactive, and even with family while I'm here, right? Of like, am I being present in those moments as much as possible? And I'm not perfect at it. Come a long way. And, you know, can I maximize those moments with people closest to me? Because I can go out to the nations and try and make impact all day long. But if I'm not impacting my neighbor, like, does that matter as much as maybe it sounds cool?
Right. Yeah.
Versus is it actually genuinely doing something for people? So that is first and foremost the thing. So, and I could talk about, I'll share a couple examples, like knowing people's birthdays and anniversaries, right? Like, oh, this is their day today. We may not physically be together, but I want to make sure I reach out to them.
I'm so bad at that.
I have to work. I put it on my calendar, right? And some days I still miss it, but things like that, just the intention of how can I think of other people more? And then the systems, right, to make that actually happen. Again, I'm not perfect at it. I'm still creasing it out, but for the most part, come a long way. So that's the first piece. Then the second piece is the bigger scale. It is the longer term vision. So part of World Changers part of my vision for it is it's a network not only of people to connect, but of impact partners. Where, another story, I volunteered for a month in Kenya in 2014, I think it was, at a nonprofit there, and it impacted me deeply. Well, I ended up giving to that nonprofit, and I was like 22, 23, every month for 5 years. To come to find, I connected with a gal. I stayed with a family there when I was volunteering, and she was like, Joseph Ott, the guy, people don't know the name of the organization, so I can say his name, but, the money never went to where you thought it went. He was keeping it the whole time. And I remember just being like, wait, what? Like, I was there. I was working on the programs. Like, it broke my heart and it blew my mind. That not, my money, but it was more so the people weren't receiving that. Like, what the heck? Like, obviously, what did I miss? Right. And not having this trustful connection. And, you hear of different things of different people and money not going where you think it should. And again, the generational wealth thing, we can be given money all day long, which is beautiful. And it's so important. I don't want to devalue that. I love that. It's, again, the both and, I think of, but anyway, so since then and some other experiences, it's really important to me that we have, especially because our organization gives 10%. I give 10% of my personal money and everything, for me with my faith, but as an organization, we give 10% from that. So everyone that's a part of it, they have a piece in the impact, right? And I think that's so beautiful. It's like, if you don't know you can trust where the money's going, let me do that work. And again, opportunities and connections have opened up. So that's part of why I'm focusing on that, is how can I help build? I would love to have an organization on each continent, maybe outside of Antarctica, but you never know. And start there and have really good relationships there, and then build out where we can give to on a monthly basis and on our trips and when I lead retreats. But then also people that want to connect, like, shoot, I have this trusted connection in Romania or Fiji or Kuala Lumpur or wherever, right? So that's another scale that I've been very called to. To be frank, that is why I'm doing everything else. Like, all the other stuff, the fun stuff, is because of that. Like, that's really the mission for me. Yeah.
So good. So what impact are you looking to leave 10 to 20 years out? Like, what legacy do you want World Changers to look like 10 to 20 years from now?
Yeah. Great question. I think about this all the time. So where do I start? A quick example, I'll say this. So I was off social media for 8 years, and I got back on a year ago, or a little over a year. And we have a World Changers Instagram, worldchangers.me, shameless plug. But when I started it, and I have an assistant that helps me with doing that now, but I was like, I don't want this to be my face. This isn't about me. I'm a piece of it, and I believe I'm an important piece of it, but there's more important pieces than just me. Like, I envision this where, those pictures where you see it like makes a face, but it's because of all these other pictures that make it up. That's how I see like our Instagram representing what we're actually doing in real life. Like, not just, post it so we get likes, or people think we're doing something cool, or we're so, such great service. No. That's actually happening. So I envision 10, 20 years from now that no one knows who started this. And ideally that happens a lot faster. Because, and what's so beautiful, and this is part of my heart for the group that went to Fiji, we had a think tank there. And I was like, I really hope that I've done at least a good enough job where I'm clear enough in what I dream of this to be, so that they see that this is not a me thing, this is a we thing. And that they feel as much ownership for where this will go. Not that I want to put that on them, but they feel called to it. Right. And I have visions of how that can also serve them in many ways. So, that's in the works. And it's already happened a little bit, but that, 10, 20 years from now, it's like, man, this is a massive organization that has amazingly strong, morally driven leaders from all over the world. And 10 years out, I would love to have 50 leaders from 25 different countries leading different programs that we have. That is like one target that I'm like shooting for. And it's going to manifest in a lot of ways, whether it's our programs. I would love to have real estate. The Jump building downtown? I am obsessed with that building.
Oh, really?
It is just so cool. I'm like, there's a freaking zip line from one of the walls down to the podium. And I'm like, that's cool. Imagine that entrance for a speech, right? To zip line in. And then the slide from the parking garage down to the ground. Anyways, I envision something like that on different continents that are hubs where people can go, and it's, nice and luxurious resort style, but also can be opportunities. For me, I have a heart for the youth, where we can offer scholarships for students to come or youth to come from around the world to connect there, right? Like all these different things. So that's way bigger than me. Like I cannot do that alone. Like number one, where would you get started with that real estate?
Right.
I'm working on those connections. But so long-winded answer, it's multifaceted. But to summarize it is that we have a bunch of leaders that all walks of life, we believe different things from religious words to political to diet standpoint, right? Like, but we can unify on what we have in common.
Yeah.
Our shared humanity and the fact that we can still love each other despite those differences. And and I think those other ways are just kind of how it'll play out. But
yeah. If there's, as we close out here, what's one piece of advice you would give to the younger generation?
Twofold. Again, the both and I can't get away from it. But number one, I think it's like, man, whatever is holding you back, like whatever is on your mind about your own self-image that you beat yourself up over or whatever that is, get in community and get resources to work on it. And if you are doing that, then keep going. Like, because number one, we weren't meant to figure it out all by ourselves. But the more that we let those thoughts perpetuate from a neuroscience standpoint, we're just going to stay in that mental groove. But we can change that. Dr. Caroline Leaf has a really amazing work on neuroscience and how to rewire your brain. Love her stuff. But that's what I would say is like, whatever it is that's holding you back from you liking you and you loving who you are and enjoying your own company and having, good self-worth, man, put that above most things, especially earlier on, in my opinion, and being very general here, right? But, have systems so you can stay steady and consistent and growing in that way. And then secondly, is now what's completely not about you. What is something that you can do for at least one other person that takes you beyond yourself and your own problems, whether that is the generic, go volunteer at a soup kitchen or clean up. But really when we actually do those things and we're like, maybe it's an hour a week or an hour a month in my calendar that I'm not doing this for likes. I'm not posting about it. Maybe no one else knows that I'm doing it. I'm genuinely doing this. My heart is in the place to serve, but my heart is right. And it's not about me. I'm going to consistently show up and do this. In my opinion, those two things will put you in 5 years where you can only dream, like you can only imagine, because I think the heart posture of it and who you become through those will open doors and bless you in ways you don't even know. So
it's good. How can people find you?
How can they find me? Oh man, which way do I direct them? Well, I would say, LinkedIn, where we connected, is a great spot. Mackenzie Stanton. Mackenzie spelled a little weird, but McKensie. That's a good place. Or I'm on Instagram, Facebook there. World Changers. We're pretty much worldchangers.me on everything. So that's our website, worldchangers.me, because .com was taken. That's the story. But I was like, it's like kind of plays on the mission, right? Yeah. I would say though, website too. We have Facebook, LinkedIn groups that are new, getting going. And that's our Instagram as well. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Mackenzie, thanks so much for your time and sharing your story. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day. So if this episode resonated with you, please share it with friends and family or those that you want to touch. Because again, it's not only about wealth, but it's health and all of the other things in between. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Yeah.